guys, welcome back to Ashar Books. I'm here to do my July Part 1 wrap up. So these are all the books that I read for the first half of the month. So to start the month off, I did do a couple of rereads, but I'm not going to really go into them because I've already talked about them on this channel. I just was in a little bit of a reading slump at the beginning of the month, so sometimes rereading like past favorites just kind of helps me get out of that. So there are a couple, like if you follow me on Goodreads, that I did reread, but we're going to kind of just go to the first one that is like a new book. So that would be, I read Damaged Like Us by Krista and Becca Ritchie. This is book one in the, this is book one in the Like Us series. So this is kind of a spin-off of their Addicted series, and I'm a huge fan of their Addicted series, but I hadn't got to this one yet. So the whole kind of premise of this series is famous like young people, basically the parents from the first series are very wealthy and very well known, kind of like an American royalty type thing. They are very popular, so the kids all kind of need bodyguards at this point. So the series kind of all revolves around the different kids and their bodyguards and a love story. This one is about Mafi and his bodyguard, Pharaoh. So this one is an M&M romance, which I haven't read too many of, but I was really interested to read it because he is one of the oldest of the kids and I just love his character. He is like a swimmer and he loved comic books, total geek, but also like a really good looking geek. And he's just have all this like kind of responsibility he puts on himself to be kind of the head of the family in that generation. And then it follows him and his bodyguard Pharaoh, who they totally have this like love to hate kind of thing going on, because Pharaoh, he's known Pharaoh for a long time because he used to be his mom's bodyguard. He's not that much older. I think he's only like maybe 5 years older than Mafi is, but this was fantastic. It's only the first in the series, so I know there's like a lot more to go, but obviously it's a very big no-no to date your bodyguard. There's a lot of like conflicting problems with that. So that was a big part of it. I love seeing the family in it from the first series. So if you've read the Addicted series, definitely pick this up. And if not, you for sure can pick this up as like a separate series. You just may not have all the background info, but I really enjoyed it. I gave it 5 stars. The next book I read was The Bombshell Effect by Carla Sorensen. And I read the first 2 books in her kind of new sports series, or it's relatively new. I loved this one. The Bombshell Effect was one of the best sports romances I've read recently, and it's been a while since I've read a good like sports romance. In this book, basically it's our 2 main characters, and our lead, as you can tell from the cover, she is very pretty, she's blonde, and she is now the new owner of the football team in the area. I think they're called it's out of Seattle, so I think it's called like the Seattle Wolves. Correct me if I'm wrong. But basically, she moves in next door to our hero, and he is the star quarterback of the team, and neither one of them know who the other is. Our hero has a daughter, and she sees her kind of waving at her, and she's really cute, and she figures, I'll be a nice neighbor. I'm gonna carry them over some cupcakes just to like introduce myself and say hi. Well, she walks over, and our hero, because he pretty much like gets this all the time, thinks she's just here to like basically get with him and like throw herself at him. So he completely just is like, I don't want your cupcakes, like I don't want you, like please leave. And she just does not like this at all and basically throws the plate of cupcakes at him. Like that scene right there just like had me hooked. I loved the like banter back and forth. There's definitely a lot of like, maybe not hate, but a lot of like animosity between the 2 of them. So she's basically inherited this team from her dad and knows literally nothing about football, but she really wants to take it on and like make herself and her father proud. I love the fact that she is like one thing I really loved about this was the fact that they made her such a strong female character, and the fact that she's pretty and like she likes girly stuff but can still be like a strong female character who's gonna take over the running, you know, this football team. I just think so many times it's one or the other in books. Like you can be strong or you can be like girly and beautiful, and it's just not the case. I think you can be both, and I love that in this. The romance between the 2 of them was really good. Obviously it's a big no-no to kind of date the owner of the team when you're the quarterback. So there was a lot of stuff going on with that. But again, if you love a good football romance, for sure go check this one out. So then I read book 2, which is The X Effect, also by Carla Sorensen. Hopefully I'm saying that right. And this one was just as adorable. I flew through these. They were both like really fast reads. Again, this has to do with a football player and our heroine. So our heroine in this is Ava, who you met in the first book, and she is the PR person who kind of runs the PR for this football team. And I love that they've got these like strong female characters like at the helm of this football team, which is covered in guys. So Ava is very capable at her job, but in this book you definitely find out way more and how she's not necessarily always that put together in the rest of her life. So the beginning of the book, Ava finds out that Matthew is, I can't remember his last name, but Matthew is coming to the team as like a trade, I guess. He's kind of coming out of retirement. And the name The X Effect is not her ex. Matthew was actually engaged to Ava's older sister, and that's whose ex it is, but ended really badly, and there's a lot of stuff going on with that. So she's kind of nervous to see him again, but the sparks are just like instantly there. I loved the kind of like banter between the two. This one definitely is not like a hate to love. They really like each other, and he's always been really kind to Ava when her family is not. There's a lot going on with that. That was a really big part of the story, was Ava's family and just her kind of never being good enough for them. So I just loved this one too. Like I said, this whole I think there's 3 books out right now, but maybe there's going to be more. It's fantastic. If you want a sports romance that also has a lot of substance and a lot of wonderful character development and romance, definitely check out this series. So after that, I kind of went down a bit of a rabbit hole, and I started reading the Kate Daniels series by Aloni Andrews. This is the first one, Magic Bites. So I can't really talk about the rest of the series that well without spoiling stuff, so I'm not sure exactly. I might do like a whole video on like my thoughts, or maybe like 2 videos, but I did read the first 5 books in the first half of July because these things are like candy and they just go down real easy. So once I started book 1, I just could not stop. So I'm kind of just going to give a brief overview in case you're like me and have been living under a rock and have not read the series yet. So I was kind of not sure about this series at first just because I wasn't sure if it was my thing, but I'm telling you, this is the most addicting series I have read in a very long time. So the Kate Daniels series follows our main character, Kate Daniels, who lives in this kind of post-apocalyptic Atlanta. Really cool because I live near Atlanta, so it was really cool to see all the like cities and stuff. But in this post-apocalyptic kind of world, basically there's been like a shift, and now magic and technology are kind of battling each other. So every few days, first you'll have technology working. For a few days you can use things like cars and other technological things, and then the next few days it'll be only magic works. So they have to have like fey lights, and they have to have like magic works. They can do spells and things like that. So it's a really interesting world that they've built. I will say I do agree with everyone else that I've kind of heard or talked to. The first book, maybe the first 2, but especially the first one, it's not the strongest in the series, and there's a lot of information that's just like thrown at you because it's a really kind of intricate world, and there were parts of this where I'm like, I do not know what's going on. But as everyone else has said, if you keep going, it really does make sense, and you kind of understand all the different parts of this world. So our main character, Kate Daniels, is a mercenary, and she works for this like mercenary guild. She has a lot of backstory, and she's a really interesting backstory, but obviously you find that out as the series goes on. Our other main like character, I'd say, there's a lot of other characters, but I'd say the main one, at least for the series, is Kran, which I don't know if I'm saying his name right, but Kran is a shapeshifter. There's definitely a lot of shapeshifters in this series, and he's kind of the Beast Lord, which means he's over all of the shapeshifters of Atlanta, which is a huge amount of people. Basically, to give like a brief overview, each book has like a sort of like mini mystery plot type thing, and then there's also a big overarching like plot that's happening throughout the whole series, or at least like a good chunk of the series. So like I said, I read the first 5 books so far, and they are so good. There's so many fantastic characters. Like, you love all the characters, even the side characters are fantastic. The romance that's potentially blooming between 2 characters is fabulous and it's so good, and it's such a slow burn because it's a slow burn because it is a series. You kind of have to like be patient, but it's worth the wait. I think, like I said, I might do a separate video on this, like with spoilers in the future, but yeah, so that kind of took over the rest of my month. Alright guys, so those are all the books that I read for the first half of July. Let me know what you guys are reading or what you're loving. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure you like the video and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.